Yo, what is happening, everybody? My name is Cam Furlan. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So it's been a minute since I filmed a YouTube video, at least face-to-face like this. So like last week, I launched my presets. They're on my website. I'll plug those first right now. You can go to my website. It'll be at the top of the description. You can go download them. $15.99 gets you, I think it's 8 presets. And so I figured with that, the best thing to do would be to show you guys how I edit some of my pictures. So I'm not gonna give away all my secrets, just because I feel like that would kind of defeat the purpose of my style and my creativity. I'm also not claiming to be the best at editing pictures. I just want to throw that out there. There's really talented people, and I'm sure there's going to be people that watch this that think my style and the way I shoot pictures is really bad, so I'm okay with that. But I think it's kind of a editing is definitely a subjective thing in my opinion. So I just wanted to make that clear before we get into this. Yeah, let's just get right into it. So I'm only going to be doing 2 pictures today just because I don't want to make this a super long video. I'm going to do each of them in black and white edit, and then a color edit. And so I will strictly be using, I don't use presets as like I slap it on there and then I'm done. I kind of see presets as more of a base, and once I have the presets kind of just help develop the look I'm going for. And so once I put the preset on there, then I know, okay, now I want to change some things. So the first picture we're going to be editing is this picture of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Pretty much, I would say nailed the focus on this. It looks maybe a tad off, but it's good enough. Most of my stuff is on Instagram anyways, so it's not like, you know, it matters all that much because Instagram destroys the quality anyways. But first thing I want to do, we'll just go with the black and white edit. So in this preset pack, these are all the presets. There's a lot of different looks you can go with. The green one, definitely want to talk about that. That's definitely like, I would say you need a flash with that preset. So I'm not going to be using that preset at all today. And then you've got all kinds of different looks you can do here. But like I said, we're gonna do a black and white one first. So this one really shoots up the highlights, kind of brings in a nice contrast. I definitely wanna bring the shadows down a little bit more, and I definitely wanna straighten this. So one of the things for Instagram is first thing I always do is I kind of crop it 4x5. If I know I'm gonna be, or the person I'm giving the photos to is gonna be using it in a story, I'll probably just leave it as shot or in a 16x10. Majority of the time it's 4x5. I think those look the best. They have the most cinematic feel to in my opinion, for a photo. So, I mean, if the equivalent I think is like in video when you get the little black bars and it's real thin, like on the movies, you know, that sort of deal. So this is kind of like the way I see it, the most like cinematic photo crop you could get. I'm kind of I don't see a photo, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this and this and this. It's kind of like, okay, I'll just kind of go with the flow, and then sometimes I'll edit a photo and then come back to it, you know, several days later. But I wanna bring the exposure and the shadows down a bit in these people right here. Just bring the exposure down a tad more. And then we're gonna do that, and then I'm gonna bring in I forget what you call this, like a linear thing, and I think it already had it done for me, but same deal. Want to bring down the shadows a bit more, create a nice little kind of spotlight on Giannis. And then other than that, honestly, the preset's pretty good how it is. I like to add some dehaze. My 70 to 200 has a little bit of hazing on the inside glass, so every picture I edit, this doesn't go for all of you guys who I'm sure the majority of you don't have that, but a lot of times I have to compensate for that, so I have to dehaze a little bit more, brings out a little bit of grain. Need you to send it to Canon and get it clean. That was a quick edit. Black and white for me is usually really quick, especially when I have a preset and a base. Kind of just makes black and white. The black and white just kind of goes real quick. So I'll throw up the before and after, and yeah, we'll move on to the color for this photo. So I've reset the photo, so now we're gonna do a color edit. These ones take, at least for me, I don't know, my friend Hugo, he takes a lot more time on his black and white because he's a majority black and white photographer. So black and white for me is kind of more simple for me. I guess I don't think about it as much. It's more for me the highlights and the shadows, and kind of making those just clash and like making it really high contrast. And as soon as I achieve that, then that's all I'm really going for in a black and white picture. But for colors, usually takes me a little bit more time. You know, I don't want to mess up the colors and make it look too edited, but I also want people to know that it's edited and that's my style, and etc. So Got lots of different options here. So I definitely think for this picture, my favorite is Clean and Tidy, the teal one. As you guys can see in this one, it makes like these blues. I think these are originally kind of like a navy, darkerish blue. They're kind of like this here, but definitely makes them a little more teal. And then this one's kind of just like a real clean, high contrast, cool edit. And then, yeah, but I'm gonna go with this just because I wanna show a little bit more of my process. So same thing, I'm gonna go ahead and crop this 4x5. This is literally like the first thing I feel like anyone should do right off the bat with their first pictures, is crop and straighten and do all that good stuff. Because the first thing I notice when I'm looking at someone's page, like picture or work, is like if a photo is crooked, that will immediately stand out to you. So that's just a big thing for me. I really like to make sure my pictures are straight. Sometimes it's hard with like the perspective, like if you're in a room and whatnot, but you just gotta practice and make it work. Same thing, I'm gonna lower the shadows a bit on these guys, make them a little more contrasty. I really am a fan of the whites being like not blown out, but just like on the, like right where you'd set a line of, okay, that's overexposed. Like I like to be right under that. I don't know why, I really like the look of it. These are almost there, but I might bring them up just a tad, at least the whites. Bring them up like 10. Definitely, I feel like, especially in arena photos, granted, not everybody photographing this like high school or whatever is gonna have this kind of lighting, but I definitely think it gives it just a nice contrasty look, especially like if you look at his tights and his shorts. Like, I don't know, it just looks really good to me when there's black and white, just kind of, I don't know, I like the look a lot. So one of my biggest things is I'm not a fan of yellow quartz, so I almost on all these presets you'll get, you can go back and change them if you like the yellows. You can just update with current settings if you guys know how to do that. But almost all the time I delete the yellows, and that's with skin tone. Sometimes I have to go back and add it. So now is kind of when we can get into the colors. At this point, I've probably already done my dehaze. Most of that is already done in the preset. But so now we kind of get into the colors. I definitely want to make these blues a little less teal, just because I think it's a bit too much for me, to be honest. And then the orange, I really like when the ball looks kind of bright, so I'm gonna bring the luminance of the orange up. And then it's making my shadows come out a little bit. So I'm gonna drop the shadows a little bit, highlights down a tad, play with the curve a little bit, and then that to me looks pretty good. I like that picture. This is kind of just if I was going for a really clean edit. There's some other things you can do that I'll show you in the next picture. But so before we get into the next picture, I just want to take another minute and plug my presets. If you guys can, go cop them. They're on my website. It'll be in the very top of the description. It'll take you right there. You guys can also go around the rest of my website, look at some of my other work. But prints will also be up very soon. I'll be dropping a video, you guys will see that. But for now, the presets are out. I really would love if you guys would go cop them and support me. Everybody, I've actually surprisingly had a lot of people buy them and download them, and they've been very happy with how they look and all the different scenarios you can use. So back to the video. Okay, so here is a picture of Hunter Dickinson. This was shot on the Sigma 35mm. Literally is my favorite lens. It's not even a competition. So, like I said, first thing I know in this picture, I have to do it because I've already edited this one earlier, but something I think you should definitely do with any picture you edit before you edit it at all is check the white balance. So there's this little pen tool over here you guys can use, and you basically click on, at least how I understand it's supposed to be used, is you click on something that to the human eye should be white, and that's majority of the time it's accurate. Last picture I didn't show it because it wasn't accurate. It made it like really blue. So most of the time it's accurate, but sometimes it's not, and you got to be able to be the judge of that, you know what I mean? So anyways, click on this, it'll make it blue. That's definitely how I know it looked in the stadium. You can tell it's pure white now. You don't have any like weird blues in there. So that definitely helps doing that, just getting that right out of the way. Next thing, obviously we got to crop. I'm gonna put him in the center a bit, and then boom. Actually, I might take it up a little bit because I want some more of those lights. Another thing I use when cropping is rule of thirds. So there's these 3, or 1, 2, 3, however you see it. And I use those lines that separate those things. I usually put key points of someone's body on those lines. So for example, his shoulders, you can put it there. I think that's a really natural looking point of view. I don't think anyone's gonna critique where you put their eyes or whatever, but it's just something I think about when I'm editing a picture. Another thing is a lot of times, most times I go on the eyes. So I like headspace above in the picture, so I usually put that top horizontal column on their eyes. But I think in this case it looks a little better if it's on his shoulders. So this is a black and white edit. Pretty clean as is, but I think the highlights are a little bit too much for me. So I'm either gonna test the exposure. There's a couple different looks you can go for here. Really high contrast with that side of his body, kind of shaded, but I don't really like the way that looks, so I'm gonna redo it. And I'm bringing down the highlights a bit. And then next thing we can do is bring down the shadows, which will kind of do, bring it a bit down on his body, and then bring the highlights back to normal. Because I love when that like white just pops, especially like kind of here on his hair, and makes it look really sharp. So I really like that. Obviously drilled the focus on this picture. I mean, it is just perfect. This is really where you get to edit. I didn't get to show you guys or tell you guys on the last picture, but this is really where you kind of edit your black and white. So you can kind of change basically what you do here is you change what is black and what is white, or what's in the middle. That's how, if you don't edit those, that's really how you get a flat looking black and white picture. You basically want opposite, at least the way I edit, I like to have the opposite colors kind of clashing, if that makes sense. So whatever you see the opposite of red is, which to me is blue, I'll make either red white and blue black, or vice versa, or kind of in the middle somewhere, like at least to where they're just not like this on the slider. That's probably a really bad explanation, but to me, like I said, black and white editing is really simple for me. I have my preset. That's pretty much the way I roll. If it doesn't get the look I want, then I'll edit it, but editing black and white to me is really quick. So you can go ahead and export that guy, throw up the before and after, and that's what this photo looks like. So now lastly, we're gonna get into a color photo. So I'm gonna show you guys a little bit more when I wanna get really creative with my editing. This is what I'll do. So like I said, first thing, white balance, crop, you know the deal by now. Straighten it out a bit, put him in the center, shoulders, boom. So that's my crop. I think that I'm going to go with, because I want to demonstrate this, that is the look I'm going for, but I want to kind of proceed with a little cleaner edit. So I'm just going to go with clean and tidy, very minimal editing, and this is where I'll show you kind of where I get really creative with, you know, at least in my mind, where my style, a lot of the things you see, like those faded blues and the shadows and whatnot, come from on my Instagram. I've already said too much. I told myself I wasn't gonna talk too much about this, but it's not really that big of a secret anyway, so I'm just gonna talk about it now. So I just wanna make sure everything looks real sharp. His face, for whatever reason, I think it's because I was shooting 1.4, looks just, it's not as focused as I'd like it to be, so whatever. Test the shadows first. Definitely want to bring down the shadows, make it look real dark, kind of simplify the picture, make him kind of stand out. And that looks good, to be honest. I definitely want to bring up that and the whites. I would kind of normally, for the lights and whatnot, make things teal, but the only thing that makes it more powerful, or that look more powerful, is the color grading. I talked about it earlier. So now this is where we'll get into it. So the highlights, is kind of, the only reason I don't like using this tool is because it applies to just about like everything that is highlighted. So usually for me, I like to adjust the shadows because it's something that's very consistent. It is not like, I mean, obviously your subject is gonna have certain highlights, obviously shadows too, but definitely the way we like things lit, definitely less shadows than highlights. So shadows for me is definitely my go-to. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add kind of like a teal look to the shadows. It'll kind of do that to the lights. You can see like kind of right here, it'll give like a blue look to the lights. Everything here is kind of turning like a blue black, and I love this look. And the thing you can do to add to it is when you go back up here to your hue, you can make the blues kind of teal. Go like full 50 on it. We're just going ham with the teals. Yeah, I mean, this was just, I don't want to take up the whole video, but I think you definitely see some of the process and maybe hopefully learn something as far as like how to bring out your subject and whatnot. Of course, everybody's not going to have this same lighting and whatnot. I've been very blessed to shoot the things that I've been able to in the last month or so. So yeah, I just wanted to sit down and make a quick video. This isn't, obviously I don't want to explain everything because I think there are certain things about the way, certain things that I do to pictures that I don't want to give away. But I definitely hope that people learn something from this or gain something. And this video was definitely specific to sports, but if you guys would want to see how I edit landscape pictures or portraits, I can do one of those too. But this is definitely how I edit my pictures, kind of my thought process, the steps that I take in order to get a base and whatnot. So you guys watch the video. So I won't keep you guys any longer. Like I said, presets will be at the top of the description. Please go download them. It means the world to me. Give the video a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. I have already filmed a what's in my camera bag, kind of my gear tour. So that'll be dropping soon. Not really sure when, but yeah, be on the lookout for that, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.